the real world, a global community where like-minded individuals work toward achieving their personal goals. Every member receives advanced training and mentoring from our team of experienced industry specialists. Develop essential business skills with the help of our coaches through our online comprehensive education system. Join now. Real Prosperity Financial Freedom Formula. Discover how to become financially free so you don't have to depend on your business, a job, the government, a partner, or anyone else for money. Scan code for the Financial Freedom Formula. 4BK Forbidden Knowledge Shop. Forbidden Knowledge Tours and Workshops. Embark on a journey of discovery with Forbidden Knowledge Tours and Workshops, where history, science, and spirituality merge to unlock the secrets of the universe. Our immersive experiences take you beyond the mainstream narrative, exploring ancient civilizations, consciousness expansion, biohacking, UFO phenomena, and the art of manifestation. Esoteric Store, featuring new esoteric and biohack items. It's a movement, a portal to ancient wisdom, higher vibrations, and deep truths. Awakening minds and expanding consciousness. Scan code to shop now. AI Genius Club. Revolutionary suite of 24 AI-powered apps is designed to automate, optimize, and elevate your success. Whether you're crafting visuals, creating engaging funnels, or generating personalized content, our platform empowers you to excel with ease and precision. Scan code to create magic. Event Raptor, the #1 solution for automating your sales. Attract, nurture, and convert with your ultimate coaching client attraction system. Everything you need to grow your audience, your authority and influence, your sales. Scan to start your automation.
Selling shouldn't feel like self-betrayal. You don't need to shout to be heard. You can market with meaning, not noise. Grow your income with less hustle. Sell without feeling salesy. Sell with soul. Schedule your Focus Finder session today. Scan code.
Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of the Pain Point Podcast. And I'm your hostess with the mostest. Yeah, that's me, Nicole. So you just saw those commercials for the sponsors. Go ahead and check the sponsors out because they're what support the show. So I can bring this to you for free. So hot tips and tricks every time the Pain Point Podcast comes out. Business solutions that solve the problem of your business pain points. Yep, that's it. It's as simple as that. That's what we bring you every time, and great guest experts. And in order to do this, love you to check the sponsors that support the show. Go ahead and hit a like and a subscribe and comment. If you don't like something, comment. If you love it, comment. We can make some changes and we can have some engaging conversation, maybe even have a critical thinking moment or some type of healthy debate. That's what gets us going here in the show. Check out Event Raptor if you're a speaker. It's free to list yourself and you can get on wonderful summits. So that's in there. Check out Penelope Smith. She's got some fantastic events. Everything is about prosperity. If you're going to manifest it, you got to take in that lovely abundance. So encourage you to even check out AI Genius app. Yep. What does it do? Makes these great AI commercials, and you can have some social media moments, scroll stopping ads, create your own, have fun. It's easy peasy. You can hire someone to use it. You can use it yourself. Have a good time. It takes seconds instead of hours or days. So check that stuff out. We're going to get right to it. I'm going to bring Vicki in because I have Vicki here today, and she's going to share some absolute game-changing solutions that she's going to help you break through from your business. So welcome to the Pain Point Podcast, Vicki.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. I'm excited to be here.
Yes. And we had great connection and a wonderful interview on the Control Alt Scale Summit. And you know what? We're really going to bring some momentum and some change to do some business breakthrough here. So Vicki, will you tell our audience a little bit about who you are?
I'm Vicki Griffith. My company's name is Breakthrough, and there's a reason for that. It's because my clients get breakthroughs, not just aha moments or even haha moments, but they get serious breakthroughs that affect everything in their business and their life. Because after all, if you're in business, it is a big chunk of your life. And so we help you to, I call it switch focus. There is no such thing as balance. So there's your first tip of the day. There's no such thing as work-life balance or business-life balance. It is when you switch focus, your attention to whatever you're doing so that you can be more present in that moment. And you do that for both your business so you can grow it as quickly or as gently as you'd like to. And we help you do that in your life because now you're more present with people that you love, are more present in the moments in your life. So you can enjoy your life as well.
Oh, thank you for that. And that is a great solution. And here's another virtual solution. So I encourage the audience at all times to look at this be solutions based. We've got a lot of trauma and a lot of drama out there in the world. And it's great. You want to watch the Kardashians and deal with the drama of the day. But we want to come back to solutions. That's our happy ending, or at least our harmony in the moment where you're saying, hey, it's not really a balance. There's moments we're human. We do things, we think, we move, we grow, we have thought processes, and we are built with a soul. So we're going to act a little bit different to get through the day. And being able to have those breakthrough moments where you're able to find some type of harmony and increase your business. And that's what that's all about. We'll get some more solutions to the business. And when you're at a point where that mind, body, and soul is harmonizing and it is moving and it's cyclical and it's vibrating at the rate and speed that you need to have a progressive, happier, healthier life. So will your family be happy too? And when you have these breakthrough moments, your business is going to succeed instead of just dragging you out and having that moment. How did you come to this type of business what was that kind of breakthrough moment, or more or less maybe even throwing a laptop across the room moment where you're like, I'm going to do this thing. I'm starting my own thing. I'm going to coach other people because I had a breakthrough and I want other people to be able to have breakthroughs. What was that moment for you?
I wish I could pinpoint it and say on Tuesday afternoon at 2:35, that's when the breakthrough came. It wasn't like that at all. It came through sometimes years and sometimes months. So going back about 15 years, I was introduced to highly sensitive people and by taking a quiz. And I completely lied all my way through it because I didn't want to be a highly sensitive person because highly sensitive people I knew cried all the time and were a burden. They were always seeking attention of some kind, and I didn't want to be that. But then I learned, if I was honest, I really am a highly sensitive person. I'm also highly driven. I'm also an introvert. So the introverts and highly sensitive people, I only 5% of highly sensitive people go into business because it is so draining emotionally on our psyche. And so to know that I was one of the 5%, I'm like, wow, that's really interesting. And I've had business failures, I've had pivots, I've changed. And it wasn't until a coach of mine said to me, because I was doing weight loss coach, I released 60 pounds, kept it off for over 20 years, know how to do that, and I can help people through that. And it is a mindset shift that affects your habits. So you're not using willpower anymore, you're working with that shift of belief systems to change your habits, so you release the weight, keep it off. Same thing for business. And a business coach of mine said to me, Vicki, you're a business coach. And I'm like, wait, be a business coach. This whiny little child came out. It's like, everyone's a business coach. I don't want to be a business coach. And it took me about 6 months to kind of hop on board with that because what I realized is all my clients who were seeing me for weight loss also owned a business. And they were really either multi-million dollar businesses with several employees or solopreneurs. And the reason that they were coming to me for weight loss is because their business was causing them to overeat through stress. And so we would work through that, but then I would also be consulting them on their business, growing their business, what to say to their employees. And that, so that breakthrough happened over a decade even or more, going a little bit at a time to figure out where was my placement. What's happened over the last year is I realized that a lot of people who are highly sensitive or introverts that are in business or want to be in business are stuck in blocks because of all the shit that everyone else as a business coach tells them to do. And I can be quite honest with you, I couldn't keep up with all those shits. And I always felt like I was wrong. I always felt that I was about to be wrong, that I couldn't do it. If I could do it, it was through pushing myself, actually not sleeping. So I could do it, but the stress, the health issues that were starting to come up from it, I just figured it wasn't worth it. And I needed to find a different way. And I also needed to help others like me who are highly driven, but yet have this nature of highly sensitive or introverts, and to show them there's other ways to grow your business rather than being really loud, being really pushy, doing all the things that they say you have to do on a daily basis so that you can have, like you talked about, that harmony, that alignment with, there's not only our business, but with our life.
And I appreciate you sharing that because I'm a super sensitive person. I'm Sagittarius, Irish, Italian, Swiss. I'm fire, I'm air. I'm like, I'm bringing the force. And it was like, there's a sensitivity and a passion. And there's a difference between that type of the dramatical passion of what I would do versus some other people. So people got a little bit sensitive and then add the intuitive psychic realm to it. You can, your spidey senses. And then, so in law enforcement and security, it was like, I would call to say, oh, it's my spidey senses that are telling me this is a bad guy because I can feel it. So mixing that into business was like, okay, I can see, I can hear, I can tell. I don't know if you've ever watched, oh gosh, I can't, oh, True Blood with Cookie Stackhouse, where she like hears the people as a waitress. She hears the client, what they're having internal conversations. So she tunes into these internal conversations. And so you're sensitive into an empathy and an intuition of things that you see. And you can't always protect yourself energetically because if we're all connected, which I do believe we are as sensitive beings in our oneness, even though we're unique, we have oneness, not the cult personality, but the oneness in the love and the soul that we share. But if we're truly that connected, we can hear and we can feel it. You can mind melt like that. Was it the first episode of Star Trek where they pop in the planet? They're reading their head, they're reading their brain, and Spock's having issues. Somebody understands what I'm saying. So it's like those thoughts of when you're sensitive, are you tuning into the passion? And some of that is what we've lost with good, bad, or indifferent, what we've lost with maybe a church or a soul-filled society where, or even if you're Wiccan and you're into that, there is a certain a ritual spiritually where we protect ourselves and we curate a community that will protect us and share with us how to spiritually be connected in a healthy manner. And we don't do that, whether that's our meditation, our prayers that we start within our day, the people we are around, the people we know, and that culturally, that practice has stopped. So there's no protection and no thought of personal protection where we have that soul cellular awareness of people around us. And because we have a virtual space and we have virtual connection, and so we connect everywhere and anywhere and with everything. So as our radio waves start to go out there, we are tuning, what station are we tuning into? And if you're like the old AM radio and you're tuning the dial and you hear 3 or 4 different stations at a time, try it, kids. I know I'm 52, but get a radio out, tune the dial because you'll hear different things. You want to tune in. And so when we are between 2 or 3 stations, and we're not fully tuned into the dial, and we are not connected in a harmonic way to that around us, and we are not protecting ourselves, and we are not calling in the light, we allow anything and everything to put a straw on us like an energetic vampire and just suck everything out. And it's a long way to come back to the fact that what you do is so good that you recognize that does cause overeating, that does cause the anxiety, that does cause the burnout, that does cause the breakdowns because we are not healing ourselves. What food are we eating? What, even if we're not eating something organic or free range or whatever, are we putting good energy into our food? Are we, do we know what we're putting in our mouth and in our body? And especially in business, a lot of people you see that are successful don't take care of their health and they don't take care of their family. Or vice versa, I want to be a solopreneur and they come into the family aspect and their family comes before anything. How are you going to make money? Your kid you shouldn't be on a Zoom with your kid running around the house screaming through the Zoom, especially if you're going live. It's not very professional. So having that healthier balance to say, hey, we've got to let's have a talk. Where are you at? Let me assess what's going on in your life. And it's great that somebody that is sensitive like you, but tuned in and you have experience. And it's your breakthrough moment never comes overnight. It's just a moment where you're like, accept that I have to step into the beauty of
I talk about overnight success for celebrities. All of a sudden, you'll see a celebrity and they're in the limelight. And you see them all over the place. Oh, they had an overnight success. No, more than likely, they've had 15 or 20 years of work that you've not seen yet. And they're on overnight success. So you said so much so beautifully there. And it is about everything is about alignment, whether it's our physical health or our business or our love, our loves of our life or whatever it might be, wealth, of course. So it is about alignment and being harmonious. And yes, those radio dials, we often tune into the one that sounds good, makes good promises, that they make you, they help you to feel like you can do it, but yet there's always this daunting idea in the back of your mind, can I really keep up? And like you said, I oftentimes, and I've helped a lot of people not go into business, which I'm very happy about because they don't realize the reality of going into business and what it takes. And it is work. And that doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that the work has to drag you down or make you ill or question your relationships because the business is supposed to be there to support you, not the other way around. And if your business is only driving you down, then you just have a job. You just bought yourself a job or you invented a job. And nobody likes the whole idea of having a real job. My friends of mine we were all speakers and we used to joke about having to go get an RJ. Well, maybe it's time to go get an RJ, a real job. But none of us ever did. Because we said, want to do that. And I'm not saying that you're wrong for working in your career or at a job, because there's nothing wrong with that either. But the idea is what you said exactly is true, is to be in harmony with it and be in harmony with the other areas of your life. And to realize that you have the opportunity to co-create your life in a divine space with God. And God isn't a vending machine. Just put a quarter and you get whatever you want. B12 and a happy life comes out. That's not quite how it works. We have to take some action to make sure that is getting done and done. And I want to say that that's not even the right word. Done and in a place where we can move forward. Because sometimes, as you've probably taken action in your life, I know I've taken action in my life, and it totally flipped over. And it wasn't the way I was supposed to go. You're right. What's happened? Are we not listening anymore? Are we not praying anymore? Are we not taking care of our rituals? Even if that means, because I grew up in the corporate world, so that meant 8 to 5. And even now, that 8 to 5 mentality is still stuck in my brain. Is if I'm not at my desk in my office by 8 o'clock or on my way to a meeting for 8 o'clock, that I'm not working enough. What if I already am? What if I started my day at 9 o'clock instead so I could do some of those rituals that you were talking about for me to help my day, to whatever it is? It could be affirmations, it could be journaling, it could be praying, it could be meditating, it could be yoga, it could be all kinds of those things. It could be a little of all those things. But what if I took that hour instead of from 8 to 9 being at my desk answering emails to do that for me? And that's what I help myself and my clients do, is to find whatever that ritual is. Everyone was talking about morning rituals, and they could be really important, but maybe your evening ritual is more important to you and your quality of life than the morning routine. So we need to figure that out for you, and help you to move forward so that you can grow your business and you can feel comfortable with sales and you can feel comfortable with outreach and you can feel comfortable being seen. And if any of that scares you, we need to talk, because all of those things can be released, and so you can break through so that you can do what you want to do in the fashion you want to do it. And also part of that is knowing what you don't want to do anymore. One of the biggest things I teach my clients is, what do you need to say no to? And sometimes saying no to something in business is more important than saying yes and moving forward to something that feels awkward or uncomfortable. Not saying that we don't have awkward moments in our lives, because we always do. Learning anything in our life is going to feel awkward the first couple of times. But the more you do it, then the more comfortable you'll be. The first time I posted a YouTube video to my YouTube channel, it was awkward. Recording it was awkward. Editing it was awkward. Posting it was surely awkward because, oh my gosh, all those eyes are going to see me. And then I just learned as time went on, oh yeah, I do need a YouTube description. Oh yeah, I've got hashtags. And so I learned as I go on. Now it's a simple process and I can post a video usually within a minute. So giving ourselves a break too, as adults. First time of anything is going to feel awkward, and that's okay. It's expected. You didn't, and people use this metaphor all the time, but it is so true. You aren't walking today without falling down on your butt a few times. You just did. We all did. And that's going to happen as an adult where we try something new.
100%, because you have to fail so many times. I don't remember the statistic. If you're asking, you have a call to action, you're asking for a sale on the phone with clients, maybe you have 10% success rate out of 100. So that'd be 10 people. So you have to have that conversation with 100 people to get that up, to be able to verify that 10% sold.
Yeah.
So there is business in here, and really sharing with people the fact that their business has to happen. You have to have this. And if you schedule your me time in there, that doesn't mean you're all about self, but you're finding and developing self-worth and
Exactly.
taking self-care. So you can have that from 8 to 9, you can have that moment, or you can have maybe from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. That's your moment. That's your time. That's what you have to do. If you aren't normally work out before you go to bed and there's a group at 6 a.m. in the morning, or you have to change that. You have to be able to do that if that's going to be productive to you, and you don't know until you try. But with the YouTube, a lot of people, when I first started getting into coaching or consulting and started doing a little bit of the hustle and checking out business, it was like, oh, you're in fear, you're in fear, you're in fear. I'm not in fear. I see this with my clients. That's why I bring that up. I see that with my clients, and I realize that you're not in fear all the time. Sometimes it's just no. We were not raised with iPhones in our hand. We were not raised locked into a shopping cart, the Walmart, with a phone in our hand, and then given everything that we wanted off the shelf that we could grab that our parents would buy. So it is a different mindset. And part of that is just the fact that we're doing it. So it does look weird because we grew up with televisions. And so there's a larger, when you look at this, really, there's production that used to go on. So there was
Mhm.
that Hollywood magic. So if you were a speaker and you were going to get on in an event, they would have a camera crew, somebody would be filming it, somebody would be editing. Now we have these tools. So we're such a DIY
Yeah.
generation, 45 and up now. We are learning to utilize these tools. They are new to us. They're much easier than they were, but we're utilizing the tools. And so when you share with people how, or hey, it happened to me, it's okay. You need to just try it. And I love that you share that. You need to just try it because if you get the awkward moment out of the way, okay, you're like a kid, got to touch the stove. You got to let the kid touch the stove. You got to have that failing moment. And then you go, that's a little hot. I don't want it. It's like eating pizza. I still do it, but I'll never learn. You got to eat it when it's super hot. Burn the roof of your mouth. Otherwise, it's not officially good pizza. But we're human and we've got to it's a give and take. But that, yeah. Yeah.
And it's a part of forgiveness too for ourselves. Because we judge ourselves a lot and we criticize ourselves a lot. So if it was awkward, you're going to find everything wrong with what you did, regardless of what it was. It could be your first vlog. It could be trying to learn how to work with AI, which is a big fear-based issue right now in business, especially if you're trying to write a book. And as speakers have a lot of issues around speaking that they have to get over, and perhaps because they had a speaking problem as a child, or maybe they just were very shy. I was very shy as a child. I didn't want to speak in front of people, but yet I craved it, which was interesting. So there was this two sides. But I stayed in the dark. I stayed hiding most of my life until God basically hit me over the head and said, "You need to speak." I'm like, "But I don't want to do it anyway." Okay. So I became a professional speaker, and it was scary. And that's another thing we need to learn how do you discern between fear, and that means don't go there, or fear and I just don't know enough yet to keep moving forward. And if you keep questioning, I just don't know enough yet, but I'm going to keep moving forward. Another, I call it a sign, something else will happen that the first path may dissipate, but the second one is going to be full of all kinds of things for you that you've been wanting. So keep that in mind too. I have coached many clients around fear and running a business, especially out of fear. So try everything all at once and not pinpointing what's the right marketing tools, because I'll be quite blunt and honest, and you're not going to hear this from many other coaches, but social media isn't always the best place to market some of my clients' businesses. Should they have a presence there? Yeah. But should they spend all their time there? So I have one client that his business is basically brought into networking, personal one-to-one networking. That's how he gets his business. Other clients it's speaking, other clients, there's different ways. So not any method. Now, some people are astounding at social media, and that's exactly where they need to be. But it's not necessarily the first path for everybody. Because if you're not known, you're not known. I hate to tell you that. Nobody's going to see you, even if you put up a social media presence, because you have to build that over time. And it does take a lot more than people think it does. You can't just post once a week and say, "Oh, I did it." No, you have to post 3 to 5 times a day for every platform. Are you
You have to
willing?
engage.
Yeah, and you have to engage. Exactly. That takes time too. My husband and I were just talking. He does social media for our auto repair shop. And I do most of mine, and I have someone else who helps me. And he was just talking about how he needs to set up or log back into his X profile. Like, yeah, I hear what you're saying. So you can, when you put up a YouTube video, you can share to all different kinds of platforms. And I said, I just am not willing, because I have an X login too. I'm just not willing to spend any more time on another platform. I have what I'm on, and I will spend time on that and engage with people and talk to people and learn about what people are doing on those platforms, but I don't have to be on every one of them. And that's one of the things that business coaches mostly will tell you, is that you need to be on every one of them, and you need to be on there very often, and you need to probably hire somebody to take care of that for you. And if
Well,
you might not be able to afford that.
yeah. Here, what I like is what you're saying is, look, choose. So if you come back and unpack that from being a good leader, corporate America, if you're talking about a CEO, good leader delegates to the strengths. So when you choose to be a solopreneur, you have to DIY a little bit. There's only 24 hours in the day, no matter how many drugs you take, there's still only 24 hours in a day. You're not going to beat that. So when you're looking at that, what is the platform? Are you a Pinterest person? Do you have better pictures? Are you an Instagram? Is there reels? If it's automotive, maybe it is X because it's usually more of a male, like it's a quick one and done kind of post. So if I have, there's clients that I have that are very articulative and they are very expressive with their words. That's not me. But I have a group that I work with on LinkedIn, so I have to change my posting a little bit. You have to change that. And there's coaches and there's YouTube and there's theory and you're a YouTube expert. I get it. You binge watched 10 whole minutes of shorts and now you know how to do the thing, but that's a lot of shouting and that's a lot of aggression and it's coming at you hard and fast because they have to compete. And if you've pretty much crafted your own algorithm. So if you're looking at something 20 different ways till Sunday and scrolling on the endless Facebook wall, that algorithm's building. So what are you putting in it? But when you would do that as a leader and you're delegating to a strength, if you're very good at something like Pinterest and you have pictures, or maybe you're sewing, there's a lot of sewing circles on there or quilters that get on there. They want to see stuff, see how it's done. It transfers to YouTube. And maybe you have a sewing or a quilting circle and you have people in there. So again, here comes the networking, here comes the tribe, here comes the connection. Where are people going to connect with you? And yes, when you referred to that before, it's the connection in the community. You can't just post and ghost the post. You can't spray or pray. When people are getting on there and sharing the connection, how important is it to comment and talk to people on LinkedIn? Also in networking. So it works the same. You are networking in a virtual way, are you not?
Yeah, absolutely. And if you consider it that way, or you are networking in a virtual way, there might be a time delay. So in an in-person networking experience, you're going to walk up to somebody, you're going to say, hey, it's a pleasure to meet you. What's your business and what do you do? Type of thing. So in the virtual space, and everything is answered immediately. In a virtual space, it might be delayed. So you might ask a question, it might be 2 or 3 days before they get back to you. So you have to take a look at that. But it's still a conversation. So remember that when you're in business, it's still a conversation. And it is still leading to something. And I do know, especially coaches, who have created conversations just by reaching out to people who like their posts. They haven't even commented. And those conversations have turned into business. So anyone who is responding to your post, thank them for responding. Thank them for showing up. Thank you for seeing you. Thank them for just a little comment about thanks for your post. Can start the conversation. So people want to be seen and they want to be acknowledged. And I think it was Mary Kay who said they want to feel important. And by calling them out by saying, thank you so much for replying to my post. You can even ask a question that says, what created that like for you? What is it about it that you liked? Those type of things. You can start conversations. So if you consider it, like you just said, I think that's a brilliant metaphor for virtual commenting on social media is consider it networking and look at just like you would networking. And there's going to be times when people just fall out. That happens with networking and following up as well in person. So just get a pattern, whatever the pattern is for you, and also engaging in groups helps the algorithm understand that you are engaged and that you want more. And it will start filtering out more people like that you're engaging with.
And then you're keeping it, if you keep it to 1 or 2 platforms or 1 or 2 great successful networkings that you have, and how many calls are you having? A lot of one-to-one. When you're looking at business and overwhelm, especially if you're a little bit more emotional and sensitive, maybe you don't need to do 10 one-to-ones. Do you need to know about everybody's cats and their children when you're trying to do business? And it can take away from the professionalism and the sales portion of the call if you get on with them again, because you might feel that you have a false sense of connection.
Creating a sense of connection is beautiful, and we do that through our pets. I want to talk about my dog. I adore her, and people. I know people might not think so, but I think she is. I think, and the thing is, she was never. I never go into a sales conversation as a sales conversation. I'm going in it as a service conversation. So, what can I do to help them out? And sometimes it has absolutely nothing to do with pitching them my services. What it might have to do is to give them a couple of pointers or a couple ideas so that they can move forward, work from wherever they are because they're stuck, wherever they're at. Am I willing to ask if it feels right for me and for them? If they want to talk more about working with me, sure, absolutely. But I always go into it as not a need for the sale or desperate for the sale, or they have to say yes. I go into it how Lord, give me the opportunity to help them with whatever they need it in their business or their life so that they can move forward. So grateful for this connection. And I leave it at that. Give me the words that I need to say, the thoughts I need to think, so that they feel comfortable in this conversation. Do I have sales techniques and strategies? Sure. I've done a lot of training. I've run an errand. I don't want to manipulate anybody. I don't want to persuade anybody. I want them to come to their own conclusions. And what I've learned most about sales conversations is about asking questions. And when you start asking them the questions and they start hearing their answers, they will sell themselves into your program if you're asking the right questions. And you're concerned. There's two main selling techniques that are real popular right now. And most people will think it's absolutely ridiculous. How could these be the two most top tips for making a sale? And here they are. And what's really fascinating for highly sensitive people and introverts, this is like normal for us. So the first one is deep listening. Listen to the person. What are they saying? What is your pain? As a highly sensitive person, as you said earlier, we could probably feel that. We have an idea what that is. We need to let them share that with us. And the other part is empathy, which we're also very good at. Oh my gosh, that must be really frustrating to you. And someone in a networking group, and he's in mortgages. And I know you just moved and you probably have the situation that anytime you close on a house, there's always one more piece of paper you got to go find. And you're like, where the heck is that? But that's from last house we lived in for 17 years. So, who knows where that paper is? And it gets frustrating when you're going through that process. And I said to him, with deep listening and empathy being the two top sales responses that people are really wanting and craving right now, say something to the fact of, I'm so sorry you have to go through this. I can see that you're frustrated and I can understand why you get frustrated. I probably wouldn't be able to know where that piece of paper is, but for underwriting, that's what they're requesting. So again, I'm so sorry that this is happening to you. And that could change the outcome immediately. You might not find the paper immediately, but at least they're not so upset that you're just saying, just go get it type of conversation.
And that's important that you're acknowledging give them a different thought
Right.
process to say, hey, yeah, it's frustrating. Go be mad, go scream at the top of your lungs, go for a hike, and then come back and say, hey, the emotional part of, hey, understanding. And that's what people need is they need the understanding, but they also need direction. Maybe it's a moment, maybe you have to experience something, and it's great to have somebody that can see that and is detached from that situation and see the full realm, like the theory of relativity. It's relative to your understanding, your emotional connection, what you've witnessed and what you've experienced in life, to understand as a witness what happens. Are you witnessing as a witness the situation? You might not be able to because you're emotionally tied to that, and that can cause more stress. But if you continue with the pain and the anger, there are no solutions.
Right.
And you are bringing solutions to people to say, hey, that's okay. I understand it happens. Maybe there's something funny you can say, or maybe there's something, hey, let me just look at this, but without being patronizing, hey, like you're a little kid. So the way, the tonality in which you speak, Vicki, is great because you're not chastising someone and
Yeah, so
making them feel stupid. And there's such a difference between being a coach and a mother. That's not what people want. They want to be successful. If you're saying you're an entrepreneur and you're a leader, be an entrepreneur and a leader. You have private conversations with your coach, and that's what's great about being in a virtual space is you can go anywhere and have this private conversation and have this connection to somebody and say, "Oh, okay, I see where I can be stronger in this moment or going forward in the next step to say, hey, I can execute this." And you can provide them with direction and guidance of where to go. What's the next step? Have you thought perhaps doing this or perhaps doing that? Providing a solution, not just bringing that kind of shadow self negativity up where you're reliving the moment. That's necessarily maybe for a counselor or a shrink, but you're helping someone in that moment to find their strength. And if we find our strength, we can find that breakthrough without massive burnout or re-triggering everything again and reliving it. And you're providing great solutions with that. And you're giving business sense is important because if you have strategy and structure and you have a good foundation, then you could run a great business. And so this gets me to the next question. People love to wait for that right time to invest in themselves. And coaching can help with this, especially where we talked about scheduling or giving yourself certain times of day to do whatever that personal moment is for you, healthy, metaphysically, maybe get a massage, go for a walk, pet your dog. What do you say to those sitting on the sidelines? They're watching these other people win, and there's a jealousy sometimes and a sadness when we kind of armchair quarterback and watch that maybe that Netflix movie of other people's success and go, oh, that's really not going to happen to me. I'm just going to eat some more popcorn and sit on the couch. When people start to give permission to themselves to succeed and start to share their wins, we're in a group, we share wins every day and what we're going to do next. And sometimes we share our follies because, hey, the group dynamic can help us think differently. So, what's that permission granting moment like when it gets unlocked for a client?
it's really interesting that you're saying it that way, and that some people do need permission to do that. It's a moment when they realize that they don't need permission. And they'll say things like, I need to talk to my wife or my husband, which I can understand. And she has combined finances. Of course, you need to talk to them. However, sometimes that's used as an excuse also because they're the naysayers of the family. And so they're going to tell them not to do it. So if they're afraid at all, then they'll use that as an excuse. Or they'll say silly things like, I need to talk to my dog, or when the full moon's over, or when Mercury's out of retrograde, hey, I get all that stuff. Moon does make the water of the ocean move. So planets are very powerful. However, we have to look at what's the excuses that you are using to keep yourself from being powerful and successful. And if you're ready to get past those excuses, then let's move forward with making a decision to invest in yourself. And that's really beautifully how you put that. I don't put a cost to anything in my marketing. I always list it as an investment because it is an investment. It's an investment to you personally to say, to give yourself permission, yeah, I'm worth this. And I can. And even if I don't believe I can, I'm going to trust in somebody else who believes for me. It's an investment in your future. So you go to college and you pay the college tuition every year to get that degree, hopefully after 4 years, sometimes 5, just depends. So you've invested all of that money for your education. And that's what coaching is. It's investing for your education, for your future, so that you can. Why did people go to college? Because they believe that after 4 years, they're going to get a good paying job and they'll be able to pay off all their student loans and live a lavish lifestyle. And so if that's what you want, to live a lavish lifestyle, let's figure out a plan to do that. There's nothing wrong with that. If you want to just have an extra few $100s in your bank account every month, let's work on that too. So there's no right or wrong. It's just giving yourself the permission to invest in yourself for your future as if you were willing to get a university degree. And knowing that degree is going to help you move forward, hopefully, in your career. So that's what investing in yourself is all about. And typically, I've invested many times without even knowing where the money was coming from. But what's really fascinating about having the faith and the alignment that we talked about earlier with your divine source, whatever that is soon after my decision to invest in myself, other people decided to invest in me through coaching practices, and I could pay off the monthly charge. So it's all about opening yourself out to the opportunity to invest in you and to invest in your future and to say, I can do this. I can manage this. You don't have to have all the answers. That's why you hire me. I help you move in those answers. That's why I've hired coaches. I want them to move me into a direction I don't know the answers to, but they do. They've done it. Then they've done it. So if they've done it and they follow the dots, and if they give me the dots, I can follow them pretty well.
You're getting a GPS, right? So you're getting that satellite guide in a sense, and you're being able to trust your intuition instead of worried about that sensitivity of feeling neglected or jealous or in pain from other people and allowing them to take that. You're changing that outlook as a sensitive, intuitive, emotional being and using that to listen to your guidance to say, okay, I'm going to trust this. And that's what you talked about. When you invest in yourself, other people invest in you. It's the universe is giving you more of what you're asking for and what you're taking action in. And that's so beautiful. And give yourself permission. If you wait for other people to give you permission or open the door, sometimes you just need to turn the knob and open the door. It's going to open for you. You can ask somebody. That's what coaches are good for. Sometimes you just need to see how is that done. And then we've lost a lot of mentorship and apprenticeship. And that's why there's so many coaches now, because we need direction and guidance. And that's what that's good for, to have somebody as a consultant that has been there and done that. But also finding your voice and your worth. And when you're getting on the stage and when you start to video yourself or get on other people's stages or even speak live, then you're sharing your voice and your worth. And you can't be the best kept secret. I just put this video on. It's hilarious. You're the best kept secret. That's all good and fine, but nobody knows about you. How are they going to know about you unless you find and establish your voice, your worth, by talking, getting on the stage, having conversation, engaging in people's social media. And it's easier sometimes to start out as a keyboard warrior to find out, how do I really finite my message? So when you go into the larger networking or the masterminds, you can have better connection. And sometimes it's just regurgitating that information. And not all your stuff has to be recreated. You can reuse it. Reuse that. You wash your jacket, you wash your shirt, you're going to wear your shirt next week. You're going to use it again, right? You use your hairbrush more than once. Hope maybe you clean it once in a while and throw it out and buy a new one. Reuse it. So pivot your thinking, find your voice and worth. And it's so important because when you do this, you're able to sell your products, and everybody wants to, if there's a group of people out there that will align with you alchemically, and they are your aligned audience that will buy something from you, but they want to know where to go. And that's up to you to have a call to action. So it's very of the proponents, and this is what I teach and talk about all the time, is when you get on a stage, have a call to action, whether it's go find my PDF or download my book, and then somebody gets in your workflow and you retarget them and then you develop a relationship or get on the phone with them. But they won't know what to do if you don't give them a call to action. And people have told people this in networking in the last few years, starting to finally drop off. But they don't have a call to action. Don't come to a network and sell anything. You're selling something, you're selling yourself all the time. And we teach this even to domestic violence victims. You cannot have financial freedom if you don't get on the mic. You could do it in virtual reality. You don't have to come up on the camera. You can do this in safe spaces. And that's what's good about being virtual. Get a VPN, have some cybersecurity. People don't have to know exactly where you're at. You don't have to give that information away. But what say you when people are fighting you on the sales conversation to have some type of call to action? So people, when they're ready to buy, you're serving them and they are comfortable with you. They know and trust you. They're ready to have a longer term relationship with you. What say you to your clients to say, hey, have that conversation. This is the time to gauge.
Typically, what happens when we're in that, I just ask them, are you in a place where you're interested in hearing more about how people work with me? And that's where I share my programs. And the answer is either yes or no. And if they're not, that's fine. But we're going to start asking I'm going to start asking some other questions, because even with a GPS, it can't tell you where you want to go unless it knows where you are. And so then we start looking at, this is where you are. Is this where you want to be? If it is, then we've had a great conversation and I wish you all the best and many blessings. But most of the time people say, yeah, this is where I'm at. This isn't where I want to be. And I do want to get to this other place. And it sounds vague, but it's because, like I said, some people it might be only $1,000 a month. Other people it's $100,000 a month that they want to make a difference in their lives. And that's just a financial goal. For some people, it's a health issue. They want to let go of 20 pounds or 25 pounds or 5 pounds. And they've tried everything, they can't do it. And they're really feeling uncomfortable in their body. And other people are trying to get relationships. Other people are in relationships that they want some help with and guidance with. So that all of those things, people are looking for answers. And I know there's people out there that have the answers. They have gone through it. And that's what makes all of us special is none of my work has been just fabricated. All of my work has come through life experiences I've had. And I want to make it different for other people. I became a weight loss coach because all the shame that I had about my weight and the food that I was eating for all of those years of my body image and the struggle that I had about losing weight, I found a way that incorporated all my foods that I loved, and I was a fast food eater. So after all those things, and I was still letting go of weight and changing my mind, changing where is this from? And sometimes that is hard for people to look at, is where it came from, whether it's weight, wealth, or I can tell you that if anyone here is struggling in their business, it has something to do with their relationship with money, or how they're told to deal with money, or how they were shown to deal with money. And it's not a friend. It's either something you have to work really hard for, keep your nose to the grindstone. Maybe I had two grandfathers that were entrepreneurs. I watched them both struggle. So when I had my own business and I was struggling, I'm like, where is this from? Oh, two grandfathers that I love deeply, I watched them in their own business struggling. So I made a conclusion as a child that to be in your own business, you had to struggle. That isn't true. It wasn't true for them. It wasn't true for me. They could have changed how they dealt with their business and their money. So those things, where we come from, everyone's so afraid of. But in reality is once you just get a little bit of a moment, those aha moments are just talked about. Once you have an aha about, oh my gosh, this is connected, and I had no idea. And then you can release it. And that's the breakthrough.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And people might side eye that a little bit. What do you mean you felt into that? And you're not saying hold on to it forever.
Yeah.
You're just saying that's something that you can recognize and let go of, which is huge. And that we can flip the script on the 1% and the 99 can be the richer people. People talk about manifestation all the time and abundance. But if you manifest and you thwart it like Wonder Woman, when it comes in, then the universe is just going to keep you in that poverty mindset. And we all see things in a different way. I have that connection too. I had that for years. My father gambled everything away if we had some success. My mother wrote a check on Tuesday, post-dated it for Friday, which couldn't do anymore because everything's instant, for even at the grocery store, for them to put the check through on that Friday, or being welfare, second, third generation, that mindset that it just wasn't going to stay, that somebody was going to steal it. So I had to spend it at some point. The government was coming to my house and take it away. That's another story for another day. But just the thought and that craziness. And it's just, oh, and this is what speaking does. When you start to speak and have these critical conversations and you start to become more open with it, then you start hearing yourself start to really finalize and articulate and sharing that, hey, this is how I help my clients. This is that, like you were saying earlier, that brings us back to the full circle of the beginning of the conversation where you say, hey, I had a conversation with a friend and they were telling me I was a business coach and I was saying no. How would you have known if you didn't have the conversation? And so it's really sharing that. And it's almost you're sharing that absolute secret sauce of saying, hey, it's this energetic guidance of getting out there and doing the thing. And that way it can seem a little silly because this is not what the algorithm is saying. Oh, get behind the curtain and really look at the Wizard of Oz and say, what's really happening here? Nothing to see here, folks. Don't look back here. And we've gotten away with our silly conversations and our Instagram and viral videos and trying to change the verbiage on something. Nobody knows what we're talking about anymore. And I love to have these discussions because it's important. We're getting out of more of this hustle culture and sharing coming back to the fact that let's not be silly. Let's not hustle. We're here for business, because hustling, when I worked undercover and I'm buying drugs from people, those are the people I'm looking to hustle, right? The guy on the street. Let's ditch that hustle into the flow, bring this back again and say, hey, it's not skinny jeans. It's not the bell bottoms. It's not the kale cleanse, whatever the trend is. If we get past the trend, it's the proven strategy. And when you're talking about weight loss or food and your connection, the proof and maybe not diet as in the removal or the scarcity of prepping, meal prepping. And so how does that reflect in business when you share with your clients and they come out all stressed and burned out, and now they can say, hey, I've got a strategy, well, proven strategy. This person's been here in business for a while. It's not a trend. Vicki's not going to go hide under a rock and spending your money at the casino, but she's going to come here long term, more something elegant that is timeless with style. So when you're doing this, what is more of when you're using your approach, what's more timeless at the end of that as we start to wrap up here?
Actually, the thing that is always here available around continuous at all times is God. That is timeless. That's leaning into that source, whatever you call it, is fine. It is always there to support you, to give you everything that you've ever wanted, could imagine, and even more. And so that relationship is the timeless piece of the work, and that is what keeps you on track. And then know that the people that, for whatever you want in your life, whether it's health or maybe lack of sleep or other relationship issues, that knowing that someone will be sent into you, because typically our answers come through other people. So pay attention who's coming into your life. And who did you just happen to glance at one of their YouTube videos and it made sense? So learn more about them. Make sure that you are learning. Always learning. That's another timeless thing. Is always learning something new that you're going to be completely awkward about, like I talked about earlier. We keep learning. That is also a timeless feature in business and in our lives. Always be curious. not judgmental, not critical about it, but be curious about what's going on in your life, in your other people's lives, your thought patterns, even down to your thought patterns. Our thought patterns are like 90% repetitive, which just sounds insane because we don't think that we're thinking the same thought over and over again. But are you? What is that thought? And what feeling does that come from? That's also something that's timeless that you can do throughout your entire life so that you can have a better life. Because when you start eliminating the judgment and the criticism and start knowing that you're okay, you can move forward much quicker than you thought you could, or in much more harmony than you thought you could, and much more ease than you thought you could. A whole slew of opportunity comes to you through that time. What a great question. That timelessness that we can all jump on, really.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's timeless as it's timeless style and which adds to the timeless structures is always good fun foundation in the sense when we're looking at this, we have the choice now. When you look at something like Silicon Valley, where they have dimensions and portals and CERN and all this energetic change, we're energetic beings. And if we can change and travel into interdimensionally, and now we have the sciences caught up to that, then we can change who we are and go into a different dimension and say, hey, I want to be this. I want to be the person that has stage presence. I want to brand myself. I want to market myself. And I want to be able to tune in and turn on and absolutely bring the charisma every time. It's not always going to work, but sometimes it's just subtly that you have to bring that great energy. And even if you sit in back of a room, people will be attracted to you. And when you're on that good energy level, people will want to be part of that. And if you have good boundaries, then they won't take all your good juju away from you. And absolutely, when you said come back to that timeless style and down into even the God or the God particle, when you're looking at the nucleus and the atom of what is us, each time that cell separates within us, it imprints a new cell, and that's our pattern of thought. And that cell separates, and it takes that like a digital download. It takes that and it separates and it repeats into the network that is us. And so when you look at that in that sense, like the computer of the being or the crystal skull that is that connected energy, we see that energy is us and around us. And if we are healthy in a better way, more stable, more structured and harmonious. And it doesn't negate that you can't be up here in the clouds and being of that energy, but we want you to have that great connection cord to the earth that we are here. We're meant to live this life and be here in this moment. And when we wake up to that, then we can have better business and better connections, and we will be absolutely alchemically aligned and healthier. And we will get better answers. That monkey mind can stick it in a corner, give it a little bit of a lollipop and say, hey, time for you to go do your thing, but reward yourself. And I love that you do that and what you do in sharing this. It's better business without the burnout, really. So I want to give you the last moment to say anything that you want to share with people. What would you like to leave them with?
I think most importantly, you're not broken. So if I thought I was broken for a whole lot of time, I need to be fixed, and you don't need to be fixed. You have many strengths that you may have either been hiding from, or someone told you that they weren't your strengths, that they were bad things for you to have, like being too shy, because as a highly sensitive person, everyone else's energy is always coming at me. And as a child, didn't know how to process heat. So it may be that it's somebody else's belief systems too that you're living by. And you don't have to do that anymore. I have one client who lived by her family's unspoken rule that you went to school, went to higher education, got a good job, you worked there for 30 years, retired, and then you died. No one spoke about it, but anytime when she was working that really good job, she had this thing within her heart to be an entrepreneur. And she joined a multi-level marketing agency that she loved the product, loved the product, but couldn't make phone calls. And this doesn't make sense. You're a very important person who calls very important people throughout the world every day unannounced, but yet you can't make a phone call to a client just to ask them how they like the product, what changes they've seen, or they need more. Just can't. When we finally found out, it came to that unspoken rule that her family had. Because anytime she talked about possibly going into business for herself, they all gave her this look, this disapproving look, and she was subconsciously afraid of being disloyal to her family. And those type of things that you may not even know that are existing. And then she broke through that, and she is now well on her own to being an entrepreneur and having a brand new husband and just loving life. And she's very happy. So that kind of thing could be happening to you. You could be sly, it could be unannounced that you're not even sure or know that you're living by, but it's making decisions for you. And we can stop that so that you can be free of it.
No, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing and having another wonderful conversation with me and sharing the solutions. And this can all be done online. And this is, you can find Vicki, all her information will be below. I encourage you to have a conversation with her. Check out her gifts. Those will be shared as well, and get to know more about what she does and how she can help you break through and you can do business and you can get back to work. And thank you so much, Vicki, for having the
Thanks
conversation.
for having me today. I appreciate it. This was fun.
Absolutely.
Selling shouldn't feel like self-betrayal. You don't need to shout to be heard. You can market with meaning, not noise. Grow your income with less hustle. Sell without feeling salesy. Sell with soul. Schedule your Focus Finder session today. Scan code.
The real world, a global community where like-minded individuals work toward achieving their personal goals. Every member receives advanced training and mentoring from our team of experienced industry specialists. Develop essential business skills with the help of our coaches through our online comprehensive education system. Join now. Real Prosperity Financial Freedom Formula. Discover how to become financially free so you don't have to depend on your business, a job, the government, a partner, or anyone else for money. Scan code for the Financial Freedom Formula. 4BK Forbidden Knowledge Shop. Forbidden Knowledge Tours and Workshops. Embark on a journey of discovery with Forbidden Knowledge Tours and Workshops, where history, science, and spirituality merge to unlock the secrets of the universe. Our immersive experiences take you beyond the mainstream narrative, exploring ancient civilizations, consciousness expansion, biohacking, UFO phenomena, and the art of manifestation. Esoteric Store, featuring new esoteric and biohack items. It's a movement, a portal to ancient wisdom, higher vibrations, and deep truths. Awakening minds and expanding consciousness. Scan code to shop now. AI Genius Club. Revolutionary suite of 24 AI-powered apps is designed to automate, optimize, and elevate your success. Whether you're crafting visuals, creating engaging funnels, or generating personalized content, our platform empowers you to excel with ease and precision. Scan code to create magic. Event Raptor, the #1 solution for automating your sales. Attract, nurture, and convert with your ultimate coaching client attraction system. Everything you need to grow your audience, your authority and influence, your sales. Scan to start your automation.